I am uncomfortable with the relationship between my fiance and his best friend slash bandmate. I've been with my fiance Joe for a couple of years now. We have a great relationship. He's funny and talented, and we have a lot of fun together. But there's always been one big issue: Natalie. Joe and Nat are really close friends. It borders on unhealthy codependency for sure. When we met, they were living together too, but she was out of the country, so I didn't meet her until we'd been together a couple of months. They also work together. They're artists slash musicians. When we started dating, Joe gave me a disclaimer about them and their close relationship, but I didn't really know what I was getting into. Once I met her, I understood it. She is the prettiest person I've ever seen in my life. I heard a lot about her, but no one told me she looked like a freaking supermodel. It was jarring too, because Joe is just average. They started writing music again together and performing, which meant a lot of time alone. I was also under the impression that their band involved multiple people, but it's just the two of them. Natalie always invited me for practice and whatnot, but to be honest, being around them made me feel like a third wheel. Then I saw them perform, and for some reason, they decided to cover this song, which felt like a slap in the face to me, especially given the context of the movie. It's not even their genre. And I was extra upset because there's this line that goes, "You can always come in my back door, and we have issues because I don't like butt stuff." And then she bent over and gave a lil wink, and it made me so mad. Joe just laughed it off and said the song was funny and gets a good crowd response. And also, they are affectionate. I mean, they're not kissing each other, but always close. Well, anyway, she ended up traveling a lot for a long period of time for some good career opportunity. I had to talk Joe out of joining her, and things got a lot better between us. We even got engaged, and it was great. Then for Christmas, we went to his home country so I could meet his family, and things went sideways as hell. First off, Nat was in every photo, going back years. Then his mom was asking about Nat and later saying she was going to be out to visit next week. Joe had a bit too much to drink at this point and got emotional about that, saying he wished he would have known because he would have changed our plans. I pulled him aside and told him I wasn't comfortable with how intertwined she was with his family, especially if we were going to get married. I asked if something could be done about that, and he laughed in my face and told me that I could be the one to try to bring that up with his mom. So I did, and his mom looked at me like I slapped her, and then the whole family got upset. Joe got really mad at me, and we laughed. Apparently, she was a foreign exchange student or something, and they were immediately best friends. They were weird kids and didn't have other friends before each other. Every year, they alternated staying with their families between Ireland and Germany. I never knew about this, but there were things, like we were watching a movie once and a character was speaking German, and Joe was able to translate. When I asked him what the hell he speaks German, he gave me a weird look and was like, "Yeah, that's where Nat is from." Then when they were teenagers and the two were in Ireland, Nat's family was killed back in her country, and so she stayed there with his family until they moved out together. And they've basically been side by side for 15 plus years. They've lived together and went to school together and then lived together and worked together since they were like 12. Apparently, there was one school year their parents decided not to put them together, and they both reacted so hostile and began acting out with crime and drugs, and their parents gave in. I don't know why I didn't know this and started to wonder what else, and I asked if they slept together. And yes, they sure did, about 6 years ago for like a year. Then one night, Nat kissed a guy and Joe beat the hell out of him. They got into a fight and decided sex was complicating things and then just stopped. But then they also hooked up a few times since. I freaked out. After hearing all the "she's like my sister" stuff, I claim BS. Joe insisted it didn't mean anything, but what the hell? He kept saying it was purely physical and there were no feelings. But if there weren't feelings, how did things get complicated then? Well, regardless, we managed to talk it out, but didn't go back to his parents. He argued that they were barely even friends anymore since he hasn't seen her in so long, and I did such a good job tearing them apart. I told him he asked me to marry him and should act like it. We fought for like 3 days until he got sick of it. Last week, he gets a call from her. I hear him get upset and argue, then he starts to leave. I ask him what the hell. He just said Natalie's in trouble and he needs to go to her and leaves. He just hopped on a plane and left, just like that. If I wouldn't have asked, he probably wouldn't even have said a word to me. So naturally, I was pissed. And I started drinking and sent some angry messages. And I basically told him that if he was going to leave like that and run to her, he made it clear he was choosing her over me, and he shouldn't bother coming home. His response was just, okay, and that he would come back soon to get his stuff, which really pissed me off. Well, yesterday, I talked to our mutual friend Chloe, who told me that Natalie was in a bad situation and called Joe from the hospital. I felt kinda bad, and then wondered why Joe didn't tell me that detail, so I called him. It wasn't a good conversation. I told him I understood why he left, but since she's okay now, he should come home. He disagreed and freaking flipped out on me and said that if I didn't keep them apart and put distance between them, she might have opened up to him about the stuff she was dealing with, and he could have helped. He called me manipulative and jealous. I do feel bad, but I still think I didn't do anything that bad. Chloe told me she'd be surprised if Joe wants to work things out. I love him, but this situation is so weird. I just want some advice. Is our relationship salvageable? Is what I did that bad? Should we even bother, or should I just let him and Natalie do their weird, not a real couple BS? Edit. I just found out she tried to be with him, and he rejected her? And he didn't want to ruin their friendship? I am so freaking confused. Here are some relevant comments from OP saying, "We got engaged before the family issues. Sorry if that wasn't clear. I was pretty upset when writing that. Since Christmas and the family thing, we fought a lot. His mom tried to apologize for making me feel bad about Natalie. But I don't know how everyone is so blind to what the problems actually are. Everyone is just like, oh, look at them, they're such good friends. Like, excuse me? I feel bad for making Natalie look bad here. I really think she's kind of innocent in all of this. Apparently, she was violently attacked by one of her colleagues. She didn't call him with the intention of him coming to her, I don't think. She was understandably distraught and wanted to talk to him, and felt like he should know what was happening. Based on his half of their conversation that I overheard, she tried to talk him out of going to her, but he's protective and was really angry. I knew that they were friends since they were kids, and I knew she was close with his family. I just didn't know the extent of it. To be fair, he stopped including mentions of her when telling stories of his past to me, because it was irritating that literally every story he mentioned involved Natalie. I thought those were just his favorite things to share, but turns out it's because she's always been right there at every moment. I swear, the whole reason they even pursued the line of work that they did was so that they didn't have to move on to real careers. I don't care what kind of trauma and crap they helped each other through. It is so unhealthy. You guys know, like, the typical cliche about the girlfriend or the wife having, like, the guy best friend, and they're just a little too close, and it's a little too weird, and they're a little too comfortable? This is just that. But now we're seeing the guy with the female best friend, and it's the same thing, and it's weirder than I've ever heard before. They are attached to the hip. They've slept with each other. He rejected her. It is so weird. It is not a healthy relationship. It's codependency, as OP mentioned. And what do you think? Do you think it's healthy? Do you think it's unhealthy? Do you think OP's being a little too crazy or not? I don't think so. I think it's really weird. And I've been having a very fun time reading this, and there is more. Let's continue. Update. Hi everyone, it's me, the one from yesterday's post about my now ex-fiancé. I just want to first say that I really appreciate everyone's input and suggestions. It helped me so much and gave me that push to finally address what I already knew what needed to be done. A lot of people asked for updates, and a lot has happened in the last 24 hours, but the original post is locked, so I hope this is okay to post it here. I've updated a few people through private messages and was told to go about posting an update from there, so thank you everyone. Well, first off, I was angry and emotional yesterday, and I reached out to Sam, who used to date Natalie. I figured if anyone could relate to exactly what the hell I was dealing with, it would be him. So we met up for some drinks. I'm not looking for a rebound type anything, just wanted someone who really understands. And holy crap. Apparently, he asked way more questions, and Natalie was way more open with him than Joe was with me, and it filled in some blanks, but also made things more confusing. Sam read the whole post and comments, then we started talking. First thing he clarified was the time they were sleeping together. So, per Sam, they were hooking up secretly for that year, and that from what Natalie told Sam, God, this is tiring, it started as a way to relieve tension/boredom. The first time happened during a fight, which is so on brand for them that if I wasn't so angry, I'd laugh at that. They agreed to keep emotions out of it and just have fun. Apparently, Natalie said the sex was incredible because they're so close already, which is why they didn't just write it off as a one-time mistake. And then the reason the fight that ended things happened is because Natalie was going to bring this other guy as her date with her to the party, and she made a joke like, "Unless you want to finally make this official, LOL," and Joe's response was like, "No, I can't ruin our friendship like that." So Natalie went and brought the guy with, and then Joe got drunk and tried to kill him. So yeah. I don't know why Joe chose to leave out the details that he did. To be honest, it probably would have made me feel a little more comfortable. So he left out those details, but Natalie told Sam those details and admitted to Sam when they broke up that no one will ever mean more to her than Joe. I freaking applaud Sam for not blowing that up and letting everyone know. Me, I'm not that nice. You guys will be proud of me. After a few drinks with Sam, I took the advice that a lot of people gave me. But instead of just sending my last post to Joe, I sent it to our entire group chat that all of our friends are on, including Joe and Natalie. And then I waited. Most people didn't respond in the chat, but I started getting a lot of private texts from my friends. But after a little while, Natalie responded, and I'll just copy her message here. "Emma, I was going to talk to you privately, but since you decided to do things this way and thought it was your best option, I will follow suit. In your post you said, Joe is just average. This is how you talk about a man you were supposed to love, especially considering he is not just average? You also said I had to talk Joe out of joining her, and it meant he missed out on a great opportunity just to appease you and your concerns. I even tried to invite you to come with us on the tour. You also mentioned him getting a real job and are rude about his talent. You have never supported him. Next, you came to one of our performances the whole time and hated that song, and we stopped playing it even though you never came to another one. I am sorry you didn't know the details of our friendship. I have tried to include you and befriend you and build a relationship with you, but you were too jealous to accept my effort, but maybe we could have talked about things and made you feel comfortable. You didn't even like to hear him talk about me. You also made the implication I did something drastic to get his attention to make him come out here, and that is so cruel considering circumstances. I wish I would have been around more, so I would have realized sooner that he deserves so much better than you." I was honestly shocked to get that response, and I was wondering why the hell she didn't address the important stuff, like being in love or the fact they've had sex. But anyway, chaos kind of broke out in the chat after that, and I didn't respond with anything, just sat back and watched it all blow up. Well, Joe called me a little while after that and assured me he was alone. He was crying and apologizing to me, but not begging for me to come back at all. He basically confirmed what I thought and everyone else was saying. He was apologizing for hurting me and straight up admitted he's totally in love with her and has been forever. They were even each other's first kiss. I told him I know she wanted a relationship with him, Sam told me, so what the hell was he doing with me? He said he didn't realize the extent of her feelings for him. Thought it was just because the sex was good. He didn't want to admit he was madly in love with her, and basically, he was worried that if they tried a relationship and things ended badly because she realized she could do better, their friendship would be ruined. He said their friendship was important enough to him that he'd prefer being quietly in love with her forever to trying something and ruining it. And that's kinda where I came in, I guess. He says he was in major denial about his feelings for her, and he hoped it would be easier to have her as just a friend if he tried to put his energy into a different relationship. I cried and yelled a lot and called him a lot of names. I'm still shaking. He admitted it was a horrible thing to do to me and says he never wanted to hurt me. Basically, he's insecure, and it caused this whole train wreck. Obviously, things are completely done. From what it sounds like, with Joe saying he didn't realize the extent of her feelings, it sure sounds like he does now, so maybe seeing this post made her fess up. Good for them, I guess. I freaking hate both of them, and I hope they make each other insane. I've thrown out a lot of his stuff, and instead of giving the ring back, I'm gonna go sell it and do something fun. Edit. A lot of people are calling them cheaters, but I would like to clear up that I am 99.9% sure neither of them cheated on anyone, aside from their constant emotional affair. Some of my wording might be confusing, and I apologize. I've calmed down a bit, and I'm pretty worried about Natalie, to be honest. I feel like they're going to be together, and he's going to be all crazy and controlling, and things are going to get really messy. The emotions with these two are way too dramatic. She's so love-struck and blinded by his admission of feelings that she's going to defend him to the end. Poor girl. Here are some relevant comments from OP. I don't even want to look at either of them. I'm so disgusted. That's the least he owes me. Yes, there was a lot of gotcha texts flying and quite a bit of name-calling. Joe stayed out of it completely, but Natalie went on a rampage defending herself and Joe. No one had any idea, and they were called out for it. I feel so validated, to be honest. Natalie has always been really nice too. At least it seemed like it, but then she just freaked out and everyone gets to see it now. I didn't. I've responded privately to friends, but I'm just leaving all that alone. I'm so over all of this. I said what I needed to. I might respond at some point, but I just don't have the energy to yet. As angry as I am at everything right now, I do kind of agree with this. Natalie is usually a very nice person, and to be honest, I feel pretty bad for doing this while she's already dealing with some stuff. And I can't really blame her for losing her cool. After hearing more of the story and knowing Joe rejected her years ago and then kept ruining her relationships and whatnot is really rough. The tide has even shifted in the group chat to anger at Joe, but Natalie keeps defending him. She's blinded by his admission that he loves her and will probably fight everyone for him. They both have issues, and I bet once they're finally together, he's going to be super controlling, and she's a free spirit, and it's gonna be a mess. They slept together for about a year 6 years ago, while both single. Joe and I started dating 2 years ago. It was certainly an emotional affair though, yes. User 1 commented, "So Natalie went and brought that guy with, and then Joe got drunk and tried to kill him? Excuse me, that's a big thing to just casually mention." OP replied with, "Tried to kill him is a bit dramatic on my part, probably, to be honest, but he beat the hell out of the guy." I can't even necessarily say that I called it in the last commentary. It's just so painfully obvious that it wasn't a healthy relationship. And then we got more details, and it's like, wow, what a surprise. Not because you were right, but because of how crazy it is. The only thing I can hope is that the writers for the next Harley Quinn and Joker movie are watching this and be like, wow, this is some good stuff, because this relationship and dynamic is toxic. I am glad that OP is removed from it. I cannot believe that Sam didn't go you know what, crazy. This is, it's mind-boggling insane, but you can just tell from OP, she is tired of this. But guys, I have to tell you, there is an update to it, so let's continue. Update 2. Hi there, Reddit. I previously came to this website for advice when I discovered uncomfortable truths about my ex, and we broke up about a week ago. Basically, his gorgeous best friend, adopted sister, bandmate, and him are madly in love. I ignored the signs and red flags that popped up constantly until I couldn't anymore. And he finally admitted his feelings for her after keeping them repressed since they were teenagers. I'm not sure what I'm posting for now. I'm a little drunk and really sad and angry, and most of my friend group were friends with them first. And after the initial drama, most of those friends have already switched to thinking it's about time they're finally together. My family isn't too supportive. Not in a bad way, that's just the nature of my family. We get uncomfortable talking about emotional things, which is probably why I willfully ignored the issues with my fiancé, to be honest. I am at a loss. He hasn't even picked up his stuff yet. I've been drinking and crying and obsessing over every detail of this whole screwed up situation. I feel like an idiot. Why did I stay for so long when he always put her before me? Why didn't I see what everyone else apparently did? He was just with me because he thought it would help him move past his feelings for her. I feel so used and unloved. I do have plans to get into therapy for multiple reasons. What do I do? I know it's only been a few days, but when does this start to not hurt so badly? I loved him so much, even when he flew out to her and abandoned me because she needed him. When I got upset and we fought, I still thought, how do I fix this? I'd be lying if I said I hadn't considered calling him, but it wouldn't do any good. Now that he has her, he'll never let her go. Not even that I want him back, I don't know. I've never gone through this. There's an actual aching in my chest, and I know the drinking is bad, I don't know. I'm so hurt. User 2 in the comment section said, "This may not be easy to hear at this time, but you dodged a bullet here. Think of it this way. Anyone who was with him did not stand a chance up against her, and it was not that you were not good enough. His problem was that he wasn't honest with himself. How could he be honest with anyone else if he couldn't admit it to himself? So again, that was not your fault either. Imagine yourself married to this partner years down the road and then you found out. I am not sure how much time you invested in your relationship. I don't think you said, but honestly, until we meet the ones, yes, there are multiple people out there for us. Everything and everyone else is practice. Grieve, clean yourself up, and concentrate, making yourself happy. Nothing is more attractive than a self-reliant person, and you will get there. He was practice for you. It will hurt a lot for a while. It will hurt a bit for a while, but don't dwell on it. And when you do, we are here. Be well. It gets better if you let it." OP replied with, "It was about 2 years that we were together, which doesn't seem that long, but I moved to a new state all by myself, and he was one of the first people I met, first guy I lived with, etc. It just feels like a really important time in my life that was wasted. I'm really struggling not to view it as wasted time, and instead as a lesson learned. Mostly, I feel like such an idiot. The signs were all there and just screaming at me. They made jokes about being like a married couple without the sex. Then I found out they had sex. Before we met, I should say. I don't think there was physical cheating at all, just a hardcore emotional affair." That one comment we just read was probably some of the best advice I have ever seen. Instead of viewing it as failure, view that person as practice for the real deal. That is just a warm-up and preparation so that you are better prepared for the ones, because there are multiple people out there for you. That is really good advice. I will remember that, and I hope you do too as well, unless you're already happily married. But you know what? Why not? Give the advice to someone else. Next story. Oh wow, there's another update. Oh wait, let's keep going. Update number 3. Hi everyone, I'm sure some of you remember my original post. I don't know if anyone cares, but with the new year, it had me thinking about 2023 and everything, and thought I would post an update. To be honest, I kind of spiraled after everything that happened and did some stupid things. But I moved back home and started working on myself, and I'm doing a lot better. I realized I should avoid relationships for a while probably, and I should also focus on myself. I realized a lot of things about my identity and sexuality and what I want in life. I realized I had to be kinda screwed up to put up with everything I went through. I'm planning on maybe going back to school this year to finish my degree. I asked some old mutual friends since they're not on any social media. Joe and Natalie are good apparently. They got married and moved back to Ireland, and Natalie has a fancy job now at Joe's family's company, and he's doing some stuff like, I don't know, teaching horse riding or archery or something, and then they bought a house. So he's still slacking and relying on her success. Just like when he coasted off her skills in music, and for some reason, she's okay with it. One of our friends made a joke about him being a trophy husband, which is laughable, when she should be the trophy, but whatever. That's life, I guess. Sometimes terrible people get happy endings. OP said in the comments section that they're not even making music anymore. Well, except for fun. Turns out they were pretty much using it as an excuse to be in each other's lives. And now that they're married, they don't need the freaking excuses. And I'm mad all over again just thinking about them, so never mind. Then, in a surprising turn of events, Natalie has appeared in the comment section with her side. Natalie's comment says, "This is Natalie. My friend sent me a link to this post, and I made an account just to feed the trolls and help boredom. I'm not going to share all the details of my life with the world here. She's done a good job already with that. But reading this all over again has me fired up. You have a very unreliable narrator on your hands, and I don't feel the need to justify every little comment that's been made, as people will likely make assumptions about my bias as well. But, well, 1. Joe isn't slacking off and coasting off my success, and never did. He put in as much effort and talent into our music as I did, not to mention being my inspiration and constant support. We still do music for fun. It's not like he forced me into some nepo baby office job. I have explored my hobbies. I have found what I'm good at and what I like. I really enjoy my job at the company, and it puts my skills to good use. Joe is not slacking. This is the same mentality she used to have, that unless someone is wearing a tie and going to meetings all day, it's not a job, says the barista. I don't care that she's a barista, it's just an ironic note. I love seeing him happy and working outdoors like he always wanted. And me, I love being a boss BITC you-know-what. 2. Lots of confusion about my childhood. My parents died in an accident when I was 17, nearly 18. Yes, I have other family. I'm not as close to them. I chose to stay with my true support system after that, and they have always been there for me. 3. I made attempts throughout their relationship to be friends with her. I tried to reach out after everything, even after the group chat, the post, etc., to see how she was doing and if she wanted to talk, and I'd answer anything. He agreed too, and she basically screamed threats at me, so I decided never mind. 4. We're child-free. Lots of weird comments wishing regret and misery and 3 kids on me and heaps of drama. I'm not a dramatic person. That's why I didn't run to defend myself previously or stir things up by sharing all the things OP has said and done. All I wanted is what I have now, living near Joe's family again with happy pets and a happy husband. Frankly, it's no one's business, but reading some comments here made me defensive about the man I love. 5. Our wedding was perfect. It wasn't really eloping like she says. We went home and had a quiet wedding with about 20 people near a lake in Ireland. We spent time together as kids. It was perfect and beautiful and everything I wanted. Cheers. The only thing I wished I did was read that in an Irish accent, but you know what? I think this is the first time I have seen, whether it be watching these type of videos or even making these type of videos, that someone has replied to be like, yay, this is Dave from the story. I gotta clear some stuff up. Except Dave is Natalie, and like people say, there's 2 sides to every story. I would have liked to see what OP had to say in response to Natalie's comment, but she didn't. Maybe this has gone on so long, so I don't know. There might be 3 more updates. I thought this ended like 4 times over, but then it kept going, and then they had to keep living through this. And the relationship, is it toxic? Is it not toxic? Does the truth lie in the middle? Am I going insane? Am I Natalie? Am I Joe? I don't know. Everything is purple now. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.